Hello, good morning students. Now our next topic is dynamometer. Dynamometer is a device which is used to measure the torque being exerted along a rotating shaft, and hence power is transmitted by the shaft. So after study of brakes, our next topic is dynamometer. Dynamometer is generally used to determine the torque power of a shaft, the rotating power or the torque power, what is the power of the shaft in the form of torque. So this type of devices is used to measure the torque in a shaft. Now it is a device to measure frictional resistance. By knowing the frictional resistance, we can determine the torque transmitted and hence the power of the engine. So as we know, sometimes in the market you can, while buying a car or a bike, what is the torque of the car, what is the power transmitted by the park, or we can see in the specification of a car that it generates 83 horsepower or 113 Newton meter torque. So torque is the turning ability of a shaft. It is known as torque. So to determine the power of a shaft by extracting the torque, and this type of devices is generally used, which is known as dynamometer, and we can determine the torque by frictional resistance. So while rotating the shaft, suppose this is shaft, it is rotating. Okay, now what amount of force we will apply to reduce the rotation of the shaft, and the opposing force which is applied to reduce the speed of the shaft. So while giving an opposite reaction, we can utilize the power of the shaft, and hence we can determine the torque of the shaft. So now on classification of dynamometer is, on the basis of classification, there are two types of dynamometer, generally absorption type and transmission type. Okay, now in absorption type, in which we absorb the shaft power. Okay, so in this type of dynamometer, and generally this type of dynamometer is used to determine the torque. So in absorption type of dynamometer, we can see four important dynamometers are there. First one is Prony brake dynamometer, second one is rope brake dynamometer, hydraulic dynamometer, and eddy current dynamometer. These four are very important, or from examination point of view also, these four are very important. And this is the dynamometer which we will study in further topics. Now in transmission type of dynamometer, belt and torsion. So this is not important from our syllabus point of view and examination point of view. Now after the classification of dynamometer, we will study one by one the types of dynamometer. So in this topic we will see the types of dynamometer and how it's work. Okay, now our first dynamometer is Prony brake dynamometer. Prony brake dynamometer, you can see the whole setup of a Prony brake dynamometer, in which a shaft is there. So this is the shaft, you can see this is shaft. Okay, this is sorry, this is not shaft, this is a lever. This is a lever. Okay, now this is a shaft which is rotating. Okay, so you can see in this direction, this is a shaft which is rotating, that is drum of radius r which is rotating. Now these are the blocks, block 1 and block 2 are there, which is attached by a spring or nut and bolt system. The whole arrangement is attached. Now it is loosen, not tighten. This is a loosen. Initially it is a loosen portion, and it can rotate freely. Okay, while giving power, this circular portion is rotating freely. It can rotate. Okay, now this is in fixed way, and to determine the torque power, what we will do, there are two stoppers are there. Okay, now we will apply load, gradual load in the lever. Suppose we can apply 1 kg load, and then 2 kg load, then 3 kg load, then 4 kg load, then 5 kg, then 6 kg, then 7 kg, and hence gradually we will apply the load after every fraction of seconds or fraction of times. Okay, now while this rotating device is rotated, while we apply the force load, this lever leans down, it is going in this direction, then this whole block system is getting attached to this rotating shaft. Okay, and this is spring to get back to its initial position. That's why this type of spring is there. Now this is counterbalance. After weight is unloaded, then it is counterbalance and it will go to its original position. Now while applying the load, this will tends to move down, and slightly this try to oppose the rotation of this rotating drum or the shaft. Okay, now when this try to give an counter reaction or the counter opposing frictional force, then it will start stopping. Okay, suppose little friction force is developed. Now when we apply load, more friction force is developed, and finally it will get stopped. Now so when the time when it's completely get stopped, then we can see the weight. What is the weight of the load? So the shaft gets stopped, so we can determine the torque power. Now how? So in this way, let's F is the frictional resistance. Let F is the frictional resistance. L is the effective length of the lever arm. This is L effective length. Suppose this from center of this to up to the weight. That means from here to here. This is the length of the lever, effective length of the lever. And N is the angular speed of the shaft or the brake diameter. This N revolution per minute. Okay. And R is the radius of the brake drum. This is the brake drum. Okay. Now this is the radius of the brake drum. Now for power measurement, the moment of the frictional resistance or the torque on the shaft. So what is the frictional resistance or the torque on the shaft? T is equals to W into L, load into L, the perpendicular distance, force into perpendicular distance, that is F into R, Okay. Now brake power, P is equals to, as we know, the brake power is 2 pi nt by 60. Now in place of T torque, we can write 2 pi n W into L by 60 in watt. Okay, now W into L by 60. Okay, so this is the formula to find out the brake power, okay, for the dynamometer. So in this way we can find out the Toni brake dynamometer. Now our second case is rope brake dynamometer, and most of the students have seen this diagram, or if we haven't seen this in our lab, then you can see it in power engineering or power engineering subject, which is in 5th semester. So you can we have the we have an experiment based on the rope brake dynamometer on diesel engine. So now in this figure or in this dynamometer, suppose this is a brake drum, whole setup of the brake drum. Okay, now one rope is there, so the rope is surrounded on the circumference of the drum. Suppose this is the drum, this is the rope which is surrounded on the circumference of the drum. So this is the spring balance. So we can find out the weight of the dead weight, how many weights are there to counterbalance the rotating shaft. Okay, now in this rope there are blocks. Okay, small wooden blocks are there, so to give a frictional resistance to this drum. Okay, now this rope is surrounded over the circumference of the drum, and it is like this. The rope is coming like this, then it goes on the circumference of the drum, and then it goes on in downward direction where the weights are there, dead weights are there. So in time to time we increase the load on the rope. Okay, now this is for the cooling purpose. While generating the frictional resistance, the brake drum gets heated. To make it cool down, cool water is provided on the circumference of the drum, and same water could be drained out from the drum. Now this is rope. This is the brake drum. Okay. Now these are the wooden blocks. As you already told, so wooden blocks are there to make a frictional resistance. Now, the rope brake dynamometer. In this dynamometer, suppose this is the shaft in which brake drums are there, and it rotates. Okay. Now, when we apply load, this whole rope gets contracted on the circumference of the drum, and it tries to oppose the motion of the drum. Okay. Now, these blocks helps on getting grip over the circumference of the drum. So now how it works, let W is the dead weight, whatever the load we have applied, that is dead weight. W as is the spring balance, N is the angular speed of the brake drum. Suppose this is rotated in any RPM, so N is the angular speed of the the drum brake. Now dB is the diameter of the brake drum, dB, this whole diameter of the brake drum, and D is the diameter of the wire rope. Suppose this diameter of the rope is small d. Now the effective diameter of the brake drum is, suppose this is the diameter of the brake drum. Now this have some amount of measurement for the, then dB plus d, that is effective diameter of the brake drum. Okay. Now we can calculate like this: the work done during one revolution. In one revolution, work done is torque into angle turned in one revolution. Okay. Whatever the torque is there of the shaft and angle turned in one revolution. Complete revolution, how many angle it will turn? Then it will turn 2 pi. That means 360 degree. 180 degree means pi, and 2 pi means 360 degree, one complete revolution. So torque into 2 pi. Now as we know, T is W minus S. Okay, and total weight minus spring load, and it cumulative equation of this W minus S gives torque. Okay, now 2 pi is dV plus d by 2, half of, that means radius, into 2 pi. Okay, now W minus S into d b plus d into pi, 2 to cancel. Okay, now this W minus S into dB plus b into pi. Now if n is the number of revolution made during 1 minute, if suppose n is the number of revolution in 1 minute, only in 1 minute, then total work done per minute, is W minus S plus, sorry, W minus S into pi dB plus d into n joule per minute, in terms of minute per minute. Okay, therefore the power total work done in 1 second, W minus S by pi, W minus S into pi dB plus d into n, this whole total, divided by 60, then joule per second. This is in joule per minute, this is in joule per second. Okay, now if the diameter of the wire rope is neglected, though we cannot neglect it, like suppose the diameter of the wire rope is neglected, then power will be W minus S, into pi dB into n by 60. Okay, so this is the formula. So any of the formula you can use to find out the power generated by the dynamometer. Okay, now our next dynamometer is hydraulic dynamometer. Okay, now first we have seen in a Pironi brake dynamometer, in which lever is there and all mechanical equipments are there to determine the power. And our second is rope brake dynamometer, in which all the components are in mechanical form or mechanical things are used. Now for this is the first time we are using an hydraulic dynamometer in which fluid force is there to reduce the rotation of the engine shaft. Okay, now in this hydraulic dynamometer, you can see the setup of the hydraulic dynamometer, in which this is the shaft in blue color, or blue color, or in violet color side, violet color. You can see the shaft, okay, engine shaft, and in red color you can see the arrangement of hydraulic dynamometer. Okay, now this is starter or the casing. This whole is the casing. Okay, this is starter, this is rotor, this rotates. That means this engine shaft is attached to this rotor, this middle portion. Okay, this middle portion is attached to the engine shaft. When shaft rotates, this rotor also rotates along with the engine shaft. Okay, now this starter, the left hand block and the right hand block, this left hand block and right hand block are not attached to the engine shaft. Okay, now what will happen? Now the things which is going to happen is the water coming out from this portion, this line, or the water circulation point from this water, or we can say any hydraulic fluid or water, it comes out in very high speed, or in high pressure or high velocity. Okay, now this starter casing will get attached with the help of this fluid force. This fluid force, these are known as chambers. Okay, these 4 chambers are there, in which the fluid gets circulated, and the fluid force is developed. Okay, now this since it is a 2D figure, so you cannot imagine how it works, but you can search in YouTube or in any other video how it works in a 3D model. Now this fluid comes and is try to get a bondation between the rotor and this left and right hand blocks. Okay, and try to make a rotor attached to these blocks. Okay, now while these blocks get attached, while this rotor gets attached to this, since this is in stationary motion, that means the blocks are in stationary position. Okay, it does not have any motion or any rotation. Okay, only the rotor rotates. Now since this gets an attachment with the help of fluid force with the rotor, now it try to stop, or it try to retard the motion of the rotor. While it gets rotor gets slow down, or the motion of the rotor gets slow down, or the rotation of the rotor gets slow down, then since it is attached to the engine shaft, it also gets slow down. Okay, and in this way this torque motor, an electric component is there, that is a torque motor, in which we can calculate the torque. Initially, what is the torque of this engine shaft, and now what is the torque after every time of, or the force, water force or the hydraulic force. We can calculate the torque with the help of torque meter. With the help of torque meter, we can calculate the torque of the engine shaft. Okay, now it consists of 2 elements: rotor element, casing, as I have already discussed. Okay, rotor element, and B is casing. This is casing. This is rotor. The rotating disc is usually fastened to the engine shaft. I have already told that it is fastened to this engine shaft. Okay, whose power is to be measured. When the water is flown through the chamber with a high pressure, the vortices are set up in the chamber, which tends to rotate the casing also. Okay, now also the rotation of the casing is restricted by the torque meter cell that measures the torque and hence power of the engine. Okay, I already told that it will try to stop the rotor. Okay, so in this way we will get the torque meter. Now our next is eddy current dynamometer. It is a pure electrical component, or the electrical setup of dynamometer, in which we get the torque of the shaft. Now, since the arrangement is like this, suppose this is the shaft of the, or one thing we can see that a starter or the rotor system which we have studied in hydraulic, the same concept is applied, that is starter and the rotor concept. This is starter and this is rotor. Okay, this, you can see the sign, this is rotor and this is starter, and there is a very small gap between the starter and the rotor. And when starter, this is starter casing, complete starter casing, this outer periphery totally starter and this inner periphery is rotor. Now when we supply the DC power, this is cooling water, because when EMF develop and the current develop, it's get heated over. So to make its temperature down, cooling water is continuously supplied. Now when the solid rotor, this rotor moves in the magnetic field, since it moves on the magnetic field, when the DC charge is applied, it gets started and it moves in a magnetic field, then produced by the starter winding, and EMF is produced. There is a charge difference, and this charge difference makes an EMF. Electromagnetic force is produced in it, thereby inducing ED current, and which induce an ED current in this system. This ED current supposes the rotation of the rotor. Now this ED current which develops between the starter and the rotor try to stop the motion of the rotor. The movement of the resistance is measured by the torque arm. There is an arrangement of torque arm. So the resistance is measured by the torque arm, and hence the shaft power is calculated. And in this way, our shaft power can be calculated with the help of eddy current dynamometer. Now these are the four important dynamometer we have discussed. So now thank you.